Alrighty guys, welcome back to Five Nights at Freddy's. So this time I'm going to be talking about the FNaF movie, the first one, before I can start discussing movie lore and my thoughts on the second movie. So yes, this is just going to be kind of this is going to be my basis for how I discuss this movie later on. It's just here to explain my thoughts on the movie personally. But I will be playing Security Breach in the background because I find that Security Breach is actually the closest game to this movie. Mixture of characters, but also the fact that the animatronics are more nice than anything. Anyways, on a different note, so first of all, I want to talk about the animatronics. They did not get enough screen time. I think they looked pretty good, but I don't think they just got enough screen time for this movie. Is mostly a focus on the dead kids, which brings me to another point. Garrett, he seems completely pointless in this entire franchise. It's hopeless. This part of the franchise is like, sure, I love him. He's a great character, but he just doesn't have any importance. So my thought is, the only thing that's going to happen to him is he might end up in like Funtime Freddy or something. Like that's the only lore hints I have to what animatronic he could possibly be. But anyways, I'll talk about Easter eggs next. It was nice. It was great seeing Sparky the dog in there. He's my favorite hoax of them all. Like, if I could make a fan game, I'd make a game based off of him. And so, we also had Shadow Freddy in there. He was pretty cool. But anyways, back to the animatronics. Like, they were well designed, but they just didn't get enough action. Like, sure, they each killed a person, but I don't like how the cupcake was the main kind of antagonist besides Afton. We see the cupcake, kill one guy, attack Mike, and set off the spring locks for Afton. And then we do see Foxy, who, he's just the biggest threat in this entire thing. I feel like Foxy's just the biggest menace in the entire series. Like, he kills the guy in the beginning. He kills Jeff, Max's brother, and he puts Mike Schmidt into the Torture Freddy chair. So, yeah, but since it's Five Nights at Freddy's, I wish we had seen a little bit more Freddy's, a lot more animatronic action, less, ghost kids and, Afton. Like, sure, Afton's sort of the serial killer big villain of the series. And I'm glad they introduced him in the first movie. But I don't know. Afton, I want to talk about Afton next. I think Matthew Lillard did a great job. It's not how I pictured him specifically, but I'm sure we all had our own picture of William Afton, and so Matthew Lillard just kind of wasn't what we were picturing initially, but he just felt too obvious. Like, we see him as a career counselor, and he's immediately super suspicious, and it fast becomes obvious he killed Garrett and he killed all the other kids as we discover them. And so when he pulls off his Springtrap head to reveal who he was, it just doesn't feel as significant as it possibly could have been. It's also another complaint I have with this is that it just wasn't scary, it's the Security Breach of the FNaF movies is what it's looking like. It could be described as the animatronics were way too nice, and so Like, sure, they did something decent, like, the guy in the kitchen, Carl, just spinning around seeing Chica and Mr. Cupcake behind him. That was a decent moment. Foxy's jump scare, he was the only one with the FNaF 1 jump scare, but yeah, Foxy's jump scare, that was decent. Freddy, he just looked kind of goofy in his sort of scary scenes. Bonnie, lots of potential, just not used. And so, yeah, just the characters, I think, it just kind of goes to show what this style of horror is, though, with mascot horror. These kind of, like, these are children's mascots, so they're not necessarily meant to be scary. And so, obviously, when we get to, hopefully, if we get to, like, FNaF 4, we'll be able to see a bit more of the horror aspect of things in this sort of film. Like, it's pretty, I don't know. Like, as the films go on, I do hope that he gets scarier and scarier. The only maybe decent jump scare in this FNaF movie was what was it? It was Foxy's jump scare. When he got Jeff. But anyways, onto Vanessa. Seeing this playing. But anyways, Vanessa. I think they made a decent connection, but making her direct Afton immediately kind of messes with the franchise. Especially once I get to discussing the lore, we can analyze why that might be a potential issue later in the franchise. What important plot points it means, but obviously, in the game, she's more of an adopted daughter, but now she's, in the film, the actual daughter of Afton, and she's definitely important in the story. So I think Vanessa finally shows up because Afton sent her to go stop Mike from doing it, because we see, night 4, her threat to him, like, shooting him if he brings back Abby, because he feels like because of Abby, he's able to go a little bit too far with, the thing. With discovering the dead kids and what happened to Garrett. She's a decent character. I just don't know what to say, really, about her. There's a lot of potential. I just don't know if they're properly cashing it out on her. Anyways, I'm going to talk about Abby next. She seems to be, like, Piper Rubio. She's a great actress, and so, how do I put this? Piper Rubio, she's a great actress, but, the child acting in the entire film was just not that good. But anyways, Abby as a character, she's pretty good, and honestly, I think the fact that she was a kid, like, it was pretty obvious, why she was, important in the film, because, it kind of gives, like, I feel like Garrett wouldn't be necessary. I feel like Abby should have replaced Garrett, and so, well, not like Garrett getting taken, but, Mike gets offered this job. Mike's low on money, so he finds this job that's offered by, obviously, Afton, who's suspicious of Mike with potential connections to the kids, and then, it's Abby getting hunted, having animatronics go after her. That's really given Mike stakes in the film. And so, that's, one point. Yeah, I feel like Abby as a character, had a lot more potential, but honestly, I feel like by the end of this franchise, she's definitely gonna be, like, an adult. So Abby seems to have a lot of connections with Charlie in this whole Silver Eyes trilogy, which could mean something completely crazy will happen. But anyways, I think we have enough points to show that it's not gonna be like that. But Abby is a far more, I don't know. Alright, I want to move on to the Ghost Kids. Obviously bad child acting, they didn't look too good, but I think using the paper as symbols, because it shows, following the Silver Eyes, the drawings have a lot of power, and that they're far more capable of, manipulating the animatronics' minds. So the Ghost Kids, well, the way they're written just doesn't feel right. Like, the Golden Freddy Ghost Kid, the blonde boy, he just feels like his acting was actually pretty good. It was decent. It was definitely decent, but it was better than the others who just kind of stood in the background, looking bored. His character is definitely pretty good, but it just doesn't feel like it fit Golden Freddy correctly. And the fact that he just knows everything, I don't know, kind of ruins it. I mean, like, the entire fact that Garrett, like, those two might be connected in some sort of way, but I'm not completely sure. But yeah, I think what I mostly wanted to see was more animatronics over seeing just the dead kids. And so that's kind of my first big complaint with the movie. Anyways, I've left this final kind of part of the video to discuss the sort of Mike Schmidt and the whole Fifth Night showdown. First, we're just going to quickly talk about Mike. Josh Hutcherson, great actor. He's probably one of my favorites. I've seen him in a variety of films, not a variety, but I've seen him in The Hunger Games, and he did pretty well in that one. And so he's doing exceptionally well in this one, and so I feel like my only complaint with him is that, he hasn't played the games, and so, he doesn't really full-on realize the stakes of what his character is trying to go through right now. And so perhaps he loses some potential, but he's definitely not as important. His character just doesn't feel as big and important as I think it should be, but I feel like it's going to expand a lot and become a lot more important in FNaF 3. And so he will be... But yeah, it's kind of like looking as the franchise goes along, he's going to be sort of this main protagonist. And, Vanessa's going to become unimportant, and, Abby's going to be, kidnapped or something, and so this leaves Mike to only be able... So this just leaves, Mike versus Afton. And I think it's a good way to boil down this entire franchise, and just kind of leave it as that. But, it's just kind of... I don't know. A lot of the decisions were a bit odd. And so, just want to quickly discuss the Fifth Night. It was easily the best night. Nights 1 through 4, they just didn't feel like FNaF nights. Night 5 felt a little bit more like that, lots of action, and the reveal of, Afton as the big villain. But it just simply wasn't very... But, I don't know, this saved too much too late, and so, this entire explanation from Vanessa over everything that happens super late, and then the reveal of Afton, just too late in the movie. But yeah, that's my review for the FNaF 1 movie. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. It's my first ever time doing a properly edited video, so yeah, thank you.